You check your bank account. It says zero. Maybe less than zero. And somewhere online, someone your age just posted about their first million. You close the app. You feel behind. But here's the real answer, and it's far stranger than you think: almost nobody actually starts from zero. Not the way you imagine it. Let that sink in for a second. Every wealthy person you've ever heard of had something before they had money. A skill. A connection. A piece of information. Time. $0 is not the same as zero resources. And confusing the two is the single biggest reason people stay stuck for years. So what does starting from zero actually mean? Let's go back further than money. Way further. For most of human history, wealth wasn't cash in a vault. It was food stored for winter. It was trust between families. It was knowing which plants were poison and which ones healed a fever. Anthropologist Marshall Solon studied hunter-gatherer societies and found something that surprised almost everyone in economics: these groups often worked fewer hours than modern humans, yet rarely felt poor. Why? Because their idea of wealth wasn't a number. It was security. Enough food. Enough shelter. Enough people who had your back. Your brain still runs on that old operating system. It doesn't actually panic about a bank balance. It panics about a threat to survival. And a zero balance feels, to your ancient brain, exactly like standing outside the cave with no food and no group. That panic is real. But it's not accurate anymore. It's outdated software running on new hardware. So the first thing, starting from zero, requires isn't $1. It's separating the fear from the facts. Now here's where it gets interesting. Economist Esther Duflo, who won a Nobel Prize for her work on poverty, spent years studying what actually moves people out of financial stagnation. Her research, done across dozens of countries, found something counterintuitive. It wasn't a lump sum of cash that changed trajectories the most. It was a single reliable behavior repeated over time. A small business habit. A saved skill. A consistent hour of focused work. Money that arrived all at once and wasn't attached to a system often disappeared within months. Money attached to a repeatable process compounded. Read that again. Compounded. You've heard that word about investing. But it applies to almost everything you do at zero. Skills compound. Reputation compounds. Small consistent actions compound. And $0 is actually the cheapest possible starting point to build a compounding system, because you have nothing to lose and everything to test. So what do you actually do first? Not what the internet tells you. Forget the course that promises to make you rich in 30 days. Forget the guy in the rented Lamborghini. Real starting from zero looks almost boring. It looks like psychologist Anders Ericsson's research on skill development, the same research behind the famous 10,000 hours idea. Ericsson found that raw hours weren't even the key variable. What mattered was something he called deliberate practice, focused effort on the exact thing that's currently your weakest link, with fast feedback on whether you're improving. Translate that into starting from zero financially. You don't need capital first. You need one skill that the market will pay for, practiced with feedback, until you're good enough that someone hands you money for it. That's it. That's the actual first domino. Notice what's missing from that sentence. A loan. An inheritance. A lucky break. None of it is required. But here's the twist almost nobody talks about. Starting from zero isn't a financial problem. It's an attention problem. Behavioral economist Sendhil Mullainathan and psychologist Eldar Shafir ran a series of studies on what they called scarcity mindset. They found that when people feel like they don't have enough, whether it's money or time, their brains actually lose measurable cognitive bandwidth. Not motivation. Bandwidth. Like running too many browser tabs at once. The stress of zero doesn't just feel bad. It makes you worse at the exact decision-making you need most in that moment. Which means the very state that makes you want to rush toward money is the same state that makes you worse at earning it. So what breaks the loop? Structure. Small, boring, repeatable structure. Mullainathan and Schaffer's follow-up research showed that even minor external systems, a checklist, a fixed schedule, a default savings rule, dramatically improved decisions for people under financial stress. Not because the system was clever. Because it removed the need to make a hard decision while your brain was already overloaded. This is why almost every person who successfully built something from nothing didn't rely on willpower. They relied on a system simple enough to follow on their worst day. Now let's bring this back to you, sitting there with your account at zero. Here's what actually starting from zero looks like, stripped of the mythology. You pick one skill the market already pays for. Not your dream job. Not your passion project. One narrow, sellable skill. You practice it daily with real feedback, not just repetition. You build one tiny system, a rule, a schedule, a habit, that runs even when you don't feel like it. And you let time do what it did for every wealthy person before you, compound something small into something real. No shortcuts. No secret. Just the same quiet mechanism that has worked since humans first started storing grain for winter instead of eating it all today, tonight. When you check your account again and it still says zero, notice what your brain does. It's going to scream that you're behind. It's going to want a shortcut, a lucky break, a fast escape. Don't listen to that part. That part is running on ancient software built for a different threat. You were never actually starting from zero. You were starting from exactly where every single wealthy person once stood, holding nothing but time, a skill worth building, and one small system they were willing to repeat until it compounded into everything.